And we did not send down upon his people after him any soldiers from the heaven, nor would we have done so. It was not but one shout, and immediately they were extinguished. How regretful for the servants! There did not come to them any messenger except that they used to ridicule him. Have they not considered how many generations we destroyed before them, that they to them will not return? And indeed, all of them will yet be brought present before us. And a sign for them is the dead earth. We have brought it to life, and brought forth from it grain, and from it they eat. And we placed therein gardens of palm trees and grapevines, and caused to burst forth therefrom some springs, that they may eat of his fruit. And their hands have not produced it, so will they not be grateful? Exalted is he who created all pairs, from what the earth grows, and from themselves, and from that which they do not know. And a sign for them is the night. We remove from it the light of day, so they are left in darkness, and the sun runs on course toward its stopping point. That is the determination of the exalted in might, the knowing. And the moon, we have determined for it phases, until it returns, appearing like the old date stalk. It is not allowable, i.e. possible, for the sun to reach the moon, nor does the night overtake the day, but each in an orbit is swimming. And a sign for them is that we carried their forefathers in a laden ship, and we created for them from the likes of it that which they ride. And if we should will, we could drown them. Then no one responding to a cry would there be for them, nor would they be saved, except as a mercy from us and provision for a time. But when it is said to them, beware of what is before you and what is behind you, perhaps you will receive mercy. And no sign comes to them from the signs of their Lord, except that they are from it turning away. And when it is said to them, spend from that which Allah has provided for you, those who disbelieve say to those who believe, should we feed one whom, if Allah had willed, he would have fed? You are not but in clear error. And they say, when is this promise, if you should be truthful? They do not await except one blast, which will seize them while they are disputing. And they will not be able to give any instruction, nor to their people can they return. And the horn will be blown, and at once from the graves to their Lord they will hasten. They will say, O woe to us! Who has raised us up from our sleeping place? The reply will be, this is what the Most Merciful had promised, and the messengers told the truth. It will not be but one blast, and at once they are all brought present before us. So today, i.e. the day of judgment, no soul will be wronged at all, and you will not be recompensed except for what you used to do. Indeed, the companions of paradise that day will be amused in joyful occupation, they and their spouses in shade, reclining on adorned couches. For them therein is fruit, and for them is whatever they request or wish, and peace, a word from a merciful Lord. Then he will say, but stand apart today, you criminals. Did I not enjoin upon you, O children of Adam, that you not worship Satan? For indeed he is to you a clear enemy, and that you worship only me. This is a straight path, and he had already led astray from among you much of creation. So did you not use reason? This is the hellfire which you were promised. Enter to burn therein today for what you used to deny. That day we will seal over their mouths, and their hands will speak to us, and their feet will testify about what they used to earn. And if we willed, we could have obliterated their eyes, and they would race to find the path, and how could they see? And if we willed, we could have deformed them, paralyzing them in their places, so they would not be able to proceed, nor could they return. And he to whom we grant long life, we reverse in creation. So will they not understand? And we did not give him, i.e. Prophet Muhammad, knowledge of poetry, nor is it befitting for him. It is not but a message and a clear Quran to warn whoever is alive and justify the word, i.e. decree, against the disbelievers. Do they not see that we have created for them from what our hands have made grazing livestock, and then they are their owners, and we have tamed them for them, so some of them they ride and some of them they eat. And for them therein are other benefits and drinks, so will they not be grateful? But they have taken besides Allah false deities, that perhaps they would be helped. They are not able to help them, and they themselves are for them soldiers in attendance. So let not their speech grieve you. Indeed, we know what they conceal and what they declare. Does man not consider that we created him from a mere sperm drop? Then at once he is a clear adversary, and he presents for us an example, and forgets his own creation. He says, "Who will give life to bones while they are disintegrated?" Say, "He will give them life who produced them the first time, and he is of all creation knowing. It is he who made for you from the green tree fire, and then from it you ignite. Is not he who created the heavens and the earth able to create the likes of them? Yes, it is so, and he is the knowing creator. His command is only when he intends a thing that he says to it, 'Be,' and it is. So exalted is he in whose hand is the realm of all things, and to him you will be returned." By those angels lined up in rows, and those who drive the clouds, and those who recite the message, indeed your God is one, Lord of the heavens and the earth, and that between them, and Lord of the sunrises. Indeed, we have adorned the nearest heaven with an adornment of stars, and as protection against every rebellious devil, so they may not listen to the exalted assembly of angels, and are pelted from every side, repelled, and for them is a constant punishment, except one who snatches some words by theft. But they are pursued by a burning flame, piercing in brightness. Then inquire of them, O Muhammad, are they a stronger or more difficult creation, or those others we have created? Indeed, we created them, i.e. men, from sticky clay, but you wonder while they mock. And when they are reminded, they remember not. And when they see a sign, they ridicule, and say, "This is not but obvious magic." When we have died and become dust and bones, are we indeed to be resurrected? And our forefathers as well? Say, "Yes," and you will be rendered contemptible. It will be only one shout, and at once they will be observing. They will say, "Oh, woe to us! This is the day of recompense." They will be told, "This is the day of judgment, which you used to deny." The angels will be ordered, "Gather those who committed wrong, their kinds and what they used to worship, other than Allah, and guide them to the path of hellfire, and stop them. Indeed, they are to be questioned. They will be asked, 'What is wrong with you? Why do you not help each other?' But they that day are in surrender, and they will approach one another asking, i.e. blaming each other. They will say, "Indeed, you used to come at us from the right." They, i.e. the oppressors, will say, "Rather you yourselves were not believers, and we had over you no authority, but you were a transgressing people. So the word, i.e. decree of our Lord, has come into effect upon us. Indeed, we will taste the penalty, and we led you to deviation. Indeed, we were deviators. So indeed they that day will be sharing in the punishment. Indeed, that is how we deal with the criminals. Indeed, they, when it was said to them, 'There is no deity but Allah,' were arrogant, and were saying, 'Are we to leave our gods for a mad poet? Rather he, i.e. the Prophet, has come with the truth, and confirmed the previous messengers. Indeed, you, disbelievers, will be tasters of the painful punishment, and you will not be recompensed except for what you used to do, but not the chosen servants of Allah. Those will have a provision determined, fruits, and they will be honored in gardens of pleasure, on thrones facing one another. There will be circulated among them a cup of wine from a flowing spring, white and delicious to the drinkers. No bad effect is there in it, nor from it will they be intoxicated. And with them will be women limiting their glances, with large, beautiful eyes, as if they were delicate eggs, well protected. And they will approach one another, inquiring of each other. A speaker among them will say, Indeed, I had a companion on earth who would say, "Are you indeed of those who believe that when we have died and become dust and bones, we will indeed be recompensed?" He will say, "Would you care to look?" And he will look and see him in the midst of the hellfire. He will say, "By Allah, you almost ruined me. If not for the favor of my Lord, I would have been of those brought into hell." Then are we not to die, except our first death, and we will not be punished? Indeed, this is the great attainment. For the like of this, let the workers on earth work. Is that, i.e. paradise, a better accommodation of the tree of Zaqqum? Indeed, we have made it a torment for the wrongdoers. Indeed, it is a tree issuing from the bottom of the hellfire, its emerging fruit as if it was heads of the devils. And indeed, they will eat from it and fill with it their bellies. Then indeed, they will have after it a mixture of scalding water. Then indeed, their return will be to the hellfire. Indeed, they found their fathers astray, so they hastened to follow in their footsteps. And there had already strayed before them most of the former peoples. And we had already sent among them warners. Then look how was the end of those who were warned, but not the chosen servants of Allah. And Noah had certainly called us, and we are the best of responders. And we saved him and his family from the great affliction. And we made his descendants those remaining on the earth, and left for him favorable mention among later generations. Peace upon Noah among the worlds. Indeed, we thus reward the doers of good. Indeed, he was of our believing servants. Then we drowned the others, i.e. disbelievers. And indeed, among his kind was Abraham, when he came to his Lord with a sound heart. And when he said to his father and his people, "What do you worship? It is falsehood, as gods other than Allah you desire. Then what is your thought about the Lord of the worlds?" And he cast a look at the stars and said, "Indeed, I am about to be ill." So they turned away from him, departing. Then he turned to their gods and said, "Do you not eat? What is wrong with you that you do not speak?" And he turned upon them a blow with his right hand. Then they, i.e. the people, came toward him, hastening. He said, "Do you worship that which you yourselves carve, while Allah created you and that which you do?" They said, "Construct for him a structure, i.e. furnace, and throw him into the burning fire." And they intended for him a plan, i.e. harm, but we made them the most debased. And then he said, "Indeed, I will go to where I am ordered by my Lord. He will guide me. My Lord, grant me a child from among the righteous." So we gave him good tidings of a forbearing boy. And when he reached with him the age of exertion, he said, "O my son, indeed I have seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you. So see what you think." He said, "O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, of the steadfast." And when they had both submitted, and he put him down upon his forehead, we called to him, "O Abraham, you have fulfilled the vision. Indeed, we thus reward the doers of good." Indeed, this was the clear trial. And we ransomed him with a great sacrifice. And we left for him favorable mention among later generations. Peace upon Abraham. Indeed, we thus reward the doers of good. Indeed, he was of our believing servants. And we gave him good tidings of Isaac, a prophet from among the righteous. And we blessed him and Isaac. But among their descendants is the doer of good and the clearly unjust to himself, i.e. sinner. And we did certainly confer favor upon Moses and Aaron. And we saved them and their people from the great affliction. And we supported them, so it was they who overcame. And we gave them the explicit scripture, i.e. the Torah. And we guided them on the straight path. And we left for them favorable mention among later generations. Peace upon Moses and Aaron. Indeed, we thus reward the doers of good. Indeed, they were of our believing servants. And indeed, Elias was from among the messengers. When he said to his people, "Will you not fear Allah? Do you call upon Baal and leave the best of creators, Allah your Lord and the Lord of your first forefathers? And they denied him, so indeed they will be brought for punishment, except the chosen servants of Allah. And we left for him favorable mention among later generations. Peace upon Elias. Indeed, we thus reward the doers of good. Indeed, he was of our believing servants. And indeed, Lot was among the messengers. So mention when we saved him and his family all, except an old woman, i.e. his wife, among those who remained with the evildoers. Then we destroyed the others. And indeed, you pass by them in the morning and at night. Then will you not use reason? And indeed, Jonah was among the messengers. Mention when he ran away to the laden ship. And he drew lots and was among the losers. Then the fish swallowed him while he was blameworthy. And had he not been of those who exalt Allah, he would have remained inside its belly until the day they are resurrected.